Hi everyone, it's Vicki. Welcome to my channel. And I thought today, in preparation of going on a cruise soon, yes, going back cruising again, and just FYI, it is a cruise that does require everyone to be vaccinated and to pass a COVID test and to wear masks in public spaces on the ship. Yes, we are going to go on a cruise. But it's our first one in a long time, and we've canceled 4 or 5 of them, and finally we're going on one. So anyway, so in light of that, I thought I would take a book out of Cruise Critic's emails that they send me and talk to you about how to book a suite for less money. I'm kind of looking at their notes here. If you're not familiar with Cruise Critic, I am not sponsored by them. They don't know me from Adam. But I've been a member a long time, and I use them mostly for their boards, where people who are going to be on the same cruise ship join a board for that sailing, and then like one time we met up with some of the other people, that kind of thing. But it's a pretty big website in terms of what it has to offer. You know, it even has some, like, I'll call them travel agency services where you can book through them. And anyway, it's a big website. If you're looking into cruising or going to go on a cruise, I definitely recommend checking them out. As far as I know, it's free to join. It was when I was. I haven't seen anything indicating that it was any different now. And I have a past video about them, about how I saved money, because you can sign up for alerts when cruise prices change. And I got one and saw that my cruise would have cost $700 less. So I called the cruise line, and sure enough, they first offered me upgrades, but I just went ahead and took the $700. They just gave me the difference. So anyway, with that said, I am going on the Holland America New Amsterdam, and I did start out with a signature suite, which is like a mini suite. They basically go from inside cabin to window cabin to like a veranda or balcony cabin, then like a mini suite. Different cruise lines have different names for it. And then they go into bigger suites, maybe 1, 2, and 3. But I did take advantage of an opportunity to upgrade on this sailing and on some sailings in the past. So I thought I'd just share with you what Cruise Critic says about it and kind of give you my opinion. So that's enough talking. Yeah, so basically it's great. It's easy to find great deals for cruises, especially right now. They're all over the internet. They are in your mailbox, probably, your email box. But sometimes those are not the best. The prices they advertise at those great prices are usually inside or window cabins. They are not usually a suite or something. So getting a suite requires a little bit more know-how sometimes. So let's talk about that. One of the ways you can get a suite at a decent price, or a better cabin. Now, their article talks about suites. I'm just going to say a better cabin, an upgrade from what you would normally do. One trick is to sail off season, which means that the weather may not be as accommodating, or it may be wonderful. Typically, like the Alaska cruise, if you go early, which what I believe is May, maybe the end of April, beginning of May. After having lived in Alaska, I always tell people don't go in April or May. But if you're trying to save your coins, that's a good time. And maybe what you would pay for a suite during an off season would cover a balcony at another time. So you can spend the same amount of money and get a better cabin if you go off season. In the Caribbean, same thing. You know, there are certain times when you look at, I should finish one sentence before I start another, right? But it dawned on me, when you look at booking a cruise, it'll give you a price, especially if it's a sale or some kind of promotion they're having, and it'll say, see other dates available. And then you can go look, and it'll show what other dates that itinerary is on that ship is going. But you'll see each of those dates has a different price. So while they say book early, I say look at the dates, because like holidays are usually really high, but then just following a holiday or just before, sometimes they're not high. So it doesn't always have to be necessarily off season. I know what Cruise Critic's saying when they say that, but it can just be a less popular time that isn't necessarily at the end or beginning of the season. It could be following a holiday when, interest is lost in what they're providing, the service they're providing at the time. So definitely look into the dates on whatever cruise you're interested in and see how it can change. And if you're flexible, like I've seen them where it'll say like 619, 609, 597, and then 729, whatever. It's the same ship, same itinerary, just different week. Okay, another tip that Cruise Critic gives is to book early, and that because suites are some of the first categories to sell out, as are balconies. My experience, it's more balconies. Again, instead of saying suites, I'm just going to say better I'm thinking in terms of better cabins. But as they sell out, whatever these higher ranking rooms are, as they sell out and they start to dwindle in inventory, then the price goes up. It is, like anything else in economics, it is the difference in demand and price. But a lot of times what the early bookings, they mention early bookings, will get you are some of the perks that go with it, with the deal. Like internet, some specialty dining, drink packages, maybe something towards excursions, those types of things. So yes, booking early, you can tie those things in. And rest assured that if the price goes down and you find out about it, you can call. And in my experience, every time that's happened to me, they've given me a better rate. I shouldn't say rest assured, because mostly I've done that with Holland. I think mostly with Holland. And they were great at it. And I don't know, there could be other lines that aren't. But, I mean, they know that you can just cancel and rebook. So why not give you that deal? So the opposite of booking early is to take advantage of the late fares, where it's getting close to the time for the ship to sail. Usually 2 to 4 weeks in that period is what I've seen. I don't know what the industry standard really is, but that's what I've personally seen. And they start sending out special rates, trying to fill those few rooms that are left, or those rooms that are left vacant. And we have gotten some good fares that way as well. I think they sometimes call them drop and go, but they're really not as close as you think. I think the 2 to 4 weeks, you can get the really dirt cheap ones sometimes. The ones we got, they were within a couple months. Like the cruise we're about to go on, it was within a couple months when we booked it. But this is different because this is the time of COVID and they don't have full ships right now. So a little bit different. But anyway, so the moral of the story is if you book early, sometimes you can get in on all those special perks because they've just put out the itinerary and they want to get some money, some deposits down. But on the flip side, if you live in Florida, Galveston, Baltimore, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, some of these places, you may also be able to get some of the last minute drop and go fares. And they're really good, but they're often limited to what kind of cabin is available. I'll take a window cabin. I just don't think I'd do an inside cabin again. So the next suggestion by Cruise Critic is to choose an older ship. They say that because some of the new ships are really tricked out. The big Royal Caribbean ships come to mind where they have all the, almost like a water park on the top level of the ship. And they have all kinds of things, and people really want to go on those. And sometimes these older ships don't have as much amenities in that, and so they may have a better price available. So what you may pay for a balcony over here, you may have gotten a junior suite over here. Now, I don't really go on a ship for it having a water slide or one of those wave riders or anything like that. We typically go Holland America or Princess, especially Holland America. We like the music walk and things like that. And so we do go on smaller ships. And we've been on older ships, like when we went to Cuba. That was a ship they brought out of storage and brought back in, I believe. Because they were saying it was its 100th voyage. And I'm like, how can this be a 100th voyage when this is an old ship? Well, it's because it had been dry docked or whatever they call it, and they brought it back into service just to go to Cuba. So I guess what I'm saying. And those older ships sometimes don't even have balconies. At Cuba, there were not balconies available on the ship. It was strictly, window rooms or inside. So sometimes that can help impact the price of a fare. All right, so the next thing that Cruise Critic suggests is to use a travel agent. I don't do that. I just, they send me so much literature that I just read through it, go to their websites. I do all that myself. But I do understand how, especially if you've never been on a cruise before, that could be really intimidating. And travel agents will definitely be able to compare different lines for you, where if you're doing the work yourself, that part's a little harder. But what you should know is that you can get a personal cruise consultant at the cruise line as well. I am not trying to undercut travel agents, because I think they're wonderful. They do a great service. I have family members that are travel agents. I've used travel agents a lot. But in my case, because we're, members of the rewards program and get lots of emails, I just use the folks that are your personal cruise assistant, counselor, what do they call it? So using a travel agency could probably be really beneficial if you're dealing with having to have airfare and hotels where you're staying and doing all of that, because you've got a lot of moving pieces to fit together. And I don't know how they work on the insurance over the overall trip, because I don't really need a travel agent living here. But if I was, taking say I was going to fly to Europe and take a European cruise, I would probably use a travel agency or book the airfare through the cruise company, because some cruise ships you can do the whole thing. But anyway, so I can totally understand some of the advantages of using a travel agent instead of trying to negotiate all the different rates yourself. Okay, the next thing that Cruise Critic mentioned was bidding for an upgrade. We have done that. We did that on Norwegian Sun, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Norwegian Sun. And what we got was just a better room. I don't believe it was a suite, but it had a fabulous bathroom. You can look at my Norwegian Sun video. I think it says to the Bahamas or something. But I think it was one of the last cruises we took, maybe November of 19. I'm not sure. But anyway, I have a playlist on my channel, so just look at that, and you can probably find it. But anyway, I think I showed the picture of this bathroom. So it was a really nice room. I don't recall it being a suite, but it was an upgrade, and we bid on it. And when I first did it, it gives you an opportunity. It says, there's some rooms left, whatever. And so I said, okay, $50 each. You have to remember, everything on a cruise is per person based on double occupancy. So they're talking about, the assumption is you're going to have two people paying $50, so $100. And then I thought, well, I think something else came up, and I said, let's just make it more than that. So I think I don't remember what I ended up doing, but it was under $200. And sure enough, we got bumped up to a much nicer room. And now that I think about it, I think we were going with a window room and got bumped to that very nice balcony room. But I don't know. Memory doesn't, I didn't write stuff like that down. So, but it's true. You can bid on it. And what happens is, if everybody bids more than you, then they're the ones who are going to get the upgraded rooms. But if you put in a competitive bid, then you've got a chance at it. You could also lowball it and see if you're lucky. Right now, with the way things are, you might get lucky, because we just did. Only it wasn't a bid. They just said for $199 a person more, so a total of $400, we can put you in this suite. That is a Pinnacle suite, I think is what it's called. No, Neptune suite. Anyway, it's at a high enough level of room to where you have where you have your own check-in line, embarkation and debarkation lines. You have use of some of the facilities there, like the orange dining, another lounge area, things like that, that you don't have at a junior suite on down the price line type of room. So I said, you know what, let's just go for that. Because we were already getting some Wi-Fi, some dinner. We're already getting the other things, about $500 worth of things from booking off one of their sales. So why not just make it an all-around top-notch vacation? Because it's been a long time since we've done that. So that's what we did. So to finish this whole thing up, let's just be clear that there are upgrades to a cabin type or a stateroom type, like from a window to a balcony to a suite, like that, versus an upgrade from one balcony to another balcony that's considered a better room. And I want to end with this so that you know that if you go for just an upgrade to your existing room type, remember that what they're saying is it's a room that the cruise line deems to be a better room. It may not be a better room to you. We like midship, near elevators. It's just more convenient for us. Jerry has a bum knee sometimes so do I. So we know that this way we're kind of in the middle. We don't have to run from one link to the other, and we're always near an elevator, so we don't have to go down long hallways. So if we took an upgrade to a room, a better room of the same type, maybe the cruise line thinks that this room way at one end of the ship or the other is a better room, where for us, it really isn't. It's usually about square footage and view obstruction, things like that. It's something to keep in mind when you're thinking of upgrade. Remember, are you upgrading into a class of room, or are you upgrading within the same class of room? Hey, it's me in real time. I was just editing the video, and I remembered another opportunity for a savings, and it's not really an upgrade, but this is the only video that this information would probably fit in very well, so I just will quickly tell you that sometimes there's a reason that a ship has low capacity. When we went to Cuba, we went a week or 10 days, I can't remember, after Hurricane Irma. So a lot of people who were going to travel, especially people, who were going to have airlines and hotels and all of that, they canceled out. When given the opportunity, they canceled out because they didn't want to risk that, knowing that a hurricane was coming. They could have been stranded anywhere. So they canceled out. So basically, when we were returning from Havana, because our cruise was one of those overnights where you got to Havana in the morning, you were there all day, you were there all night, you were all there the next day, and then it left at like midnight or something. So when we were about to get back into Tampa, sail from Tampa, yay, they were offering people to stay on the ship and do the turnaround trip back to Cuba again. I believe it was the same trip. They may have had two itineraries, because ships will often do that so that people can do back-to-back trips. But whatever, they were offering to stay on the ship for another, I think that was a 5-day cruise, so another 5 days, and it would have been $150. And in this case, they said not each. It was $150 because their next sailing had such high cancellations that it's better for them to have people on the ship, because they may spend money. They may go to a casino, a restaurant, they may buy jewelry, they might buy art, they might buy drinks. I think drinks is what they're really going to get. But it's just better. It's like a hotel, or, it is a hotel, really, a floating hotel and restaurant. And so it's better to have bodies there that are going to spend money than it is to send a ship out that's empty. So I couldn't do it because I was employed at the time, and my coworkers were ready for me to come back because we were starting a project. And that it wouldn't have worked for me. But if it was now, and I could have got a hold of whoever was, dog sitting for me and house sitting for me, I would have definitely done it. Because $150 for 2 people for 5 days, that's cheaper than staying home. So back to the other video. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I'm looking very forward to going on our cruise. Just kind of exciting in cruise world right now because everything's different. Thanks for watching. Hope you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not. And to those who are, thank you very much. Bye.